Welcome to our deep dive
Hmm.
into the world of spirituality and self-realization, as guided by the writings of Shri Suresh Kumar Makam. And before we begin, I think it's important to acknowledge the powerful disclaimer he includes at the start of his book.
Oh, yeah.
He writes, "Cleanse your manas with practice of sadhana, and then go through literature, otherwise reality will be lost upon you."
Yeah.
It really sets the tone for the journey we're about to embark on, wouldn't you say?
It does. It definitely highlights the importance of inner preparation.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
like Shri Suresh is suggesting that understanding these concepts requires more than just intellectual effort.
Yeah.
We need to approach it with a certain level of openness and a willingness to look inward.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, let's dive into the heart of Shri Suresh's teachings.
Let's.
Throughout this deep dive, we will be referring to Shri Suresh Kumar Makam, disciple of Shri Raghavendra Rao Saheb, as Shri Suresh.
Okay.
Our mission is to understand these elevated spiritual states and godly powers as he describes them,
Right.
and to explore the crucial role of a guru in a disciple's journey. Now, Shri Suresh begins by defining godliness and spirituality in a very unique way.
Okay.
He describes God as the innermost center, the root cause of the entire universe, much like the biblical idea of God created man in his own image. But then he takes it a step further.
Right.
What's so fascinating is how he connects this to the concept of the self.
Okay.
He suggests that realizing God is essentially the same as realizing the self. And this concept aligns perfectly with his book's title, Introspection. It's as if he's saying that the ultimate truth lies within each of us. So how do we tap into that?
Well, he introduces this concept of Pindish, a region within the human frame where individuals can perform what he calls petty godly works.
Petty godly works. What does that even mean?
Well, it's not about grand miracles
Oh.
or supernatural feats. It's about these subtle ways we can influence our reality through focused intention and spiritual practice. It's like we each have a mini universe within us, and through focused effort, we can start to exert our will on that inner world.
Yeah.
And that eventually ripples outward into our external reality.
So it's about starting small, working on ourselves internally, and then those changes eventually manifest in our outer lives. But are there any concrete examples of these petty godly works?
Absolutely. So every thought we have, every emotion we feel, every action we take is a form of energy.
Right.
And that energy has a real impact, not just on ourselves, but on the world around us.
Okay.
So a petty godly work could be something as simple as choosing a positive thought over a negative one,
Okay.
extending kindness to someone who's struggling, or even just taking a moment to cultivate inner peace. These seemingly small acts, when performed with intention and awareness, can create a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
So it's about consciously aligning our thoughts, feelings, and actions with a higher purpose. That's really interesting. Does Shri Suresh provide any specific practices or techniques to help us cultivate this inner power?
Yeah. He talks about a hierarchy of spiritual states,
Okay.
beginning with Rishi, then progressing to Dhruva, Dhruvatipati, and finally Parishad. Now, these terms might sound a bit foreign, but essentially they represent different levels of spiritual development,
Okay.
each with an increasing sphere of influence. It's like climbing a ladder, with each rung representing a higher level of awareness
Yeah.
and ability to impact the world around us.
I see. So it's a gradual process of refining our inner selves, expanding our consciousness, and ultimately becoming more aligned with the divine.
Right.
But what about more well-known concepts like Kundalini awakening? Where does that fit into this hierarchy?
That's a great question. Shri Suresh actually mentions a teaching from his own guru, Shri Babuji Maharaj,
Okay.
that awakening the Kundalini, this powerful energy often associated with spiritual awakening, is necessary for nature's work, but not necessarily for spiritual progress.
Really? That seems counterintuitive.
It is a bit of a head scratcher, yeah.
It seems counterintuitive that something as powerful as Kundalini awakening wouldn't be essential for spiritual growth.
Well, think of it like this. Kundalini awakening can be incredibly powerful and transformative,
Right.
and it can definitely play a role in our spiritual evolution. However, Shri Suresh, drawing upon the wisdom of his guru, suggests that true spiritual progress goes beyond the activation of any particular energy or the attainment of any specific state.
Okay.
It's about the purification of the heart, the cultivation of love and devotion, and the complete surrender to the divine will. It's about transcending the ego, not just energizing it.
That's a really nuanced perspective. It
Right.
seems like true spiritual growth is much more about inner transformation than outward achievement.
Exactly. And this is where the role of a guru becomes so crucial.
Okay.
Sri Suresh emphasizes the importance of training
Hmm.
and guidance in navigating this complex inner landscape. He even argues that factors like climate, food habits, and individual preferences can influence our spiritual journey. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No.
It's about finding the right practices and guidance that resonate with our unique needs and aspirations.
So it's like a tailor-made approach to spirituality, guided by someone who understands the nuances of the path and can help us avoid potential pitfalls. Now, this leads us to a concept that I find particularly intriguing, Maya.
Right.
Sri Suresh describes it as a spiritual state, often translated as illusion, but it seems to be much more than that. He uses examples from Hindu mythology, like the story of Krishna's birth and Rama's descent, to illustrate its power and influence. So what is Maya?
Well, Maya is indeed a multifaceted concept. It's not just about illusion. It's about the veil that separates us from ultimate reality. It's the play of duality, the world of opposites, where we experience joy and sorrow, love and loss, birth and death. And Sri Suresh, quoting Shri Babuji Maharaj, suggests that even suffering and death are spiritual states within this realm of Maya.
That's a pretty radical perspective.
Yeah.
To think of suffering and death as spiritual states is a real shift in how we typically view those experiences.
It is, and it's a perspective that challenges us to look beyond the surface level of our experiences.
Mhm.
Think about it. If everything is ultimately a manifestation of the divine,
Right.
even suffering and death must have a deeper meaning, a purpose within the grand scheme of things.
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
And honestly, it makes me a little uncomfortable.
I hear you. It's not always easy to confront these existential questions, but perhaps that discomfort is a sign that we're starting to peel back the layers of Maya,
Yeah.
glimpsing the deeper truth that lies beyond our everyday perceptions.
Okay. I can see how that might be the case.
Yeah.
So with this deeper understanding of Maya in mind, where do we go from here?
Well, Sri Suresh introduces another captivating concept called Fani Ifana.
Okay.
It's a state of complete absorption, a profound spiritual experience where the individual transcends the boundaries of the self and merges with the divine. It's like the ultimate goal of spiritual practice. But the path to achieving it is anything but straightforward.
It sounds incredibly profound, but also incredibly difficult to grasp. How does Sri Suresh even begin to explain such a state? Does he use any analogies or stories to help us understand?
He does. He actually uses a beautiful analogy from a letter written by Sri Lalaji Maharaj to illustrate this state.
Okay.
This is the blessing of the condition of Fana in Fana, after which, God willing, the blessing of the condition of Baka will be granted to you from the same source. As is the stage and condition of Fana, in the same proportion will the condition of Baka be granted.
That's a really poetic way to describe it. It almost sounds like a mystical dance.
Yeah.
A gradual merging of the individual self with the divine. But what about Sri Babuji Maharaj? Does he offer any insights into the state of Fana Ifana?
He does. Sri Suresh quotes him as saying, "Death. I used in my book, Efficacy of Raj Yoga in the Light of Sahaj Marg, the term living dead. This is the condition felt when one becomes absorbed in absorbency, Fana Ifana. These conditions can be best explained in a negative way. I give my view in the worldly way. When the impressions of the past become very active, then nature brings death as a pause for rest, so that one may be fresh in the next life to undergo the result of action. Now we come to the spiritual standard of life. Here, death means the oblivious state of mind which rejects all that is there."
So Fana Ifana is like a living death, where the mind completely lets go of all attachments, desires, and even the sense of self.
Exactly. It's about transcending the limitations of the ego and merging with the infinite, becoming one with the source of all creation. And Sri Suresh connects this to the concept of a temple of arts, where individuals become the temple themselves, no longer needing external places of worship,
Okay.
because they embody the divine within.
Wow. That's a powerful image. It makes me think about all the elaborate temples and rituals we create in our attempts to connect with the divine, when maybe the true sanctuary lies within us all along.
It is a profound realization, and Sri Suresh suggests that achieving this level of spiritual realization requires a deep level of surrender and devotion to the master, a concept he refers to as gulami.
Gulami, meaning complete subservience to the master. It's a pretty challenging concept, especially in our modern world, that emphasizes individuality and self-reliance.
It is, and it's something we'll definitely need to explore further.
Yeah.
But first, let's introduce the remarkable figure of Sri Raghavendra Rao, Sri Suresh's guru, who exemplifies this principle of gulami.
Okay.
Sri Babuji Maharaj himself held Sri Raghavendra Rao in high esteem, recognizing him as a true spiritual master.
I'm really curious to learn more about Sri Raghavendra Rao and what made him such a remarkable figure, but unfortunately we'll have to save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
Yes, join us next time as we delve into the life and teachings of Sri Raghavendra Rao and explore this concept of gulami in greater depth. It's a journey that promises to challenge our preconceived notions and open up new possibilities for spiritual growth. Welcome back to our deep dive. You know, it's fascinating how Sri Suresh highlights the importance of a guru, especially as we delve into the life of Sri Raghavendra Rao.
You're right, the timing is perfect. Before the break, we are about to unpack this concept of gulami, complete subservience to the master.
Right.
And Sri Raghavendra Rao seems to be the embodiment of this principle.
He does. He really does. It's a challenging concept for many, you know. As you said, it seems to go against our modern emphasis on individuality.
Yeah.
But Sri Suresh argues that this surrender is actually the key to unlocking our true potential.
So it's like we need to let go of our ego's need for control in order to become receptive to a higher guidance.
Exactly.
Is that what he's suggesting?
Exactly. And it's beautifully illustrated in the story of Ayaz, a slave who completely devoted himself to his master, Muhammad Ghazni. Sri Suresh recounts how, despite the disapproval of other courtiers, Ayaz remained completely loyal and obedient, even when ordered to smash a priceless diamond tree.
Oh, wow. That's a powerful image of surrender.
Yeah.
He was willing to let go of something so precious because it is complete devotion to his master.
Precisely. And Sri Suresh even quotes Sri Babuji Maharaj describing Sri Raghavendra Rao as the perfect example of gulami.
Oh, really?
He says, "Wo gulam hai, aisi gulam hai ki malik sirf unko hi dekhta hai, unke sivaye aur koi dikhai nahi dekhta." Essentially, Sri Raghavendra Rao's devotion was so complete that the master saw only him.
So it's not just blind obedience, but a deep, heartfelt connection that allows the master's grace to flow through the disciple.
Exactly.
You mentioned earlier that Sri Raghavendra Rao achieved some remarkable spiritual milestones.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about his journey?
Absolutely. Sri Babuji Maharaj himself documented Sri Raghavendra Rao's progress in detail.
Wow.
He achieved incredible milestones like crossing Brahman Mandal.
Imagine that.
Imagine breaking through the limitations of our known universe,
Yeah.
entering the rings of splendor, and ultimately reaching Layavasta in Brahm, a state of complete absorption in the divine.
That's amazing.
Imagine that level of connection,
Wow.
of oneness with everything.
It's mind-boggling to even try to comprehend. But even with all these achievements, Sri Suresh describes his guru as incredibly humble.
He was. There's a beautiful anecdote where Sri Suresh shares Sri Raghavendra Rao's parting message. He predicted that it might take mankind over 100,000 years to truly understand Sri Babuji Maharaj.
It really puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
If someone so spiritually advanced believes it would take that long for humanity to grasp the teachings of his master, it speaks volumes about the depth and complexity of Sri Babuji Maharaj's realization. It's humbling, isn't it?
It is. And it brings us back to the importance of having a guide, a guru, who can help us navigate these complexities.
Yeah.
Sri Suresh quotes Sri Raghavendra Rao saying, "When there is sufficient amount of faith developed in the disciple, then only the guru opens his mouth and spells. Not before that. Not a single syllable will come out of it."
It emphasizes the sacred bond between a guru and disciple, doesn't it? It's not just about imparting knowledge, but a deep energetic connection.
Right.
Based on trust and surrender.
Exactly. It's like tuning into a frequency.
Okay.
The disciple needs to be receptive, open, and trusting in order to receive the guru's guidance. And this is where gulami, that complete surrender, plays a vital role. It's about aligning yourself with the master's vibration, becoming an empty vessel, so to speak, so that the divine can flow through you.
Makes me think of those stories of saints who performed miracles. Was it their own power, or were they simply channels for a higher force?
It's a question worth pondering. Sri Suresh describes how his own acharya was able to guide and train him even without a physical body. He says, "Look, he is the greatest and no parallel teacher who doesn't have business with this world and ongoings of the world, but still, he is present with me."
It raises a mind-boggling question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If a guru can guide a disciple even without a physical body, what does that tell us about the nature of connection? Does it transcend our current understanding of time and space?
It's a fascinating concept. It challenges our conventional notions of how spiritual guidance operates and hints at a deeper, more interconnected reality. But even with the emphasis on the guru's grace, Sri Suresh doesn't dismiss the importance of individual responsibility and effort in the spiritual path.
So it's a balancing act, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Surrender to the master, yet actively engage in your own growth.
Exactly. He even shares his own struggles and doubts. He says, "As far as I am concerned, I know not anything, and all my expressions not available anywhere because they have only descended. I am only a lipikara, a scribe. Even for this language, some great saint is helping all along. There's a difference between descendants and intercommunication, it is certain. But descendants is from whom and why and what for. These thoughts do float in my conscious too, and in my mind, and in thought."
It's refreshing to hear that even someone as dedicated as Sri Suresh experiences doubt. Makes this whole journey feel more relatable, you know?
It does. It reminds us that spiritual growth isn't about achieving some perfect state of unwavering faith, but about navigating the ups and downs, the moments of clarity and confusion, with honesty and a willingness to learn.
And that learning seems to involve a lot of self-reflection and inner work.
Absolutely. Sri Suresh even shares a poignant anecdote about a time when he was feeling discouraged and questioned the necessity of a guru.
Oh, really?
He describes a conversation with Sri Raghavendra Rao, where he expresses his doubts and struggles. He says, then Rao Sahab continued his reply, No, you should evolve such an amount of devotion. I said, further, I am already in the deep sea in the failure of my courtship, and if the support is not there, then the devil will eat me off. The fight between the devil and the deep sea, and it is not possible all the time to evolve. I just ended this.
So he's basically saying that the path is hard.
Right.
He's struggling to maintain his faith.
And what's beautiful is how Sri Raghavendra Rao responds. Not with judgment, but with compassion and a gentle reminder of the importance of cultivating devotion. He doesn't offer a quick fix, but encourages Sri Suresh to strengthen his inner resolve.
It speaks to the true nature of a guru, doesn't it? To guide, support, and challenge, but ultimately to empower the disciple to walk their own path.
Right.
And speaking of walking a path, Sri Suresh makes an interesting point about the seeming contradiction of needing the body for spiritual practice,
Right.
even while striving to transcend it.
Yeah. It is a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
It is.
He draws on examples like Lord Parashurama purifying the earth barefoot,
Okay.
Lord Rama's footprints sanctifying the land, and the expensive travels undertaken by saints and spiritual leaders.
Right.
All of these highlight the role of the physical body in their spiritual journeys. It's as if the body itself becomes a tool for spiritual expression.
It is a bit mind-bending, but I'm starting to grasp what he means. It's like we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We can't deny the reality of our physical existence, but we also shouldn't limit our understanding of the divine to its physical expression.
Precisely. And this leads to a key concept Sri Suresh explores, the body as the place and abode of the God. He breaks down how different parts of the body relate to different spiritual elements, emphasizing the intricate connection between the physical and the spiritual.
So it's not just about respecting the body, but understanding its deeper spiritual significance.
Exactly. He says, from the point of the deep neck bone section above to the complete head, including the neck, is called Akala Akasha Mandala, Manasmana Mandala. Imagine our head as the realm of the mind and ether, where thoughts and consciousness reside. It's like our own personal cosmos.
And does he map out the rest of the body in a similar way?
He does. He describes the chest and upper abdomen as Vayu Mandala, Vayu Tattva, and Jala Mandala, Jala Tattva, associated with air and water, the elements of breath and flow. It's fascinating how he connects these elements to specific areas of the body.
It's like our bodies are microcosms of the universe, containing all the elements and forces that exist on a grand scale.
Exactly. And he continues, heart, Shabda Kendra, cave of sound, Prana Mandala. Our heart becomes the center of life force energy, the source of sound and vibration that connects us to everything. Then the stomach area is Agni Mandala, linked to fire, the element of transformation and digestion.
And what about the lower parts of the body?
He explains that the lower abdomen, containing the intestines and other organs, is Prithvi Tattva, representing the grounding element of earth. And finally, the Nabi and lower regions are nature's workshop, Prakruti Samskarana Mandala, connected to the creative forces of nature where transformation and manifestation occur.
It's incredible how he maps out this whole system within our physical form.
It is, and he connects this understanding to ancient yogic practices like Hatha Yoga, which focus on purifying and harmonizing these elements within the body to ultimately lead to spiritual awakening.
So by working with our bodies, we're actually working with these fundamental forces of creation. But how does this relate to those who seem to transcend the physical, like the saints and masters Sri Suresh mentions?
That's where the paradox comes in. He highlights the story of Lord Parashurama, who walked on barefoot and covered the globe 21 times, cleansed the earth by eliminating the cruel rulers and restoring peace.
So even someone performing such extraordinary feats was still utilizing the body as a tool.
Exactly. He also mentions the reverence given to Lord Rama's footprints, believed to have sanctified the land. He says, footprints are of the body, and his moving is with his body only. The sages and saints say that every particle of his body is divinized and radiates only divinity. It is the divine body, but still remember it is a body only, absolutely adhering to all the functions and conducts of the body.
It's like the body itself becomes a vessel for the divine, a conduit for spiritual energy to manifest in the world.
That's a great way to put it. And it challenges us to rethink our relationship with our bodies. Instead of seeing them as limitations or obstacles on the spiritual path, perhaps they're actually instruments for our growth and evolution.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. But I'm still grappling with this seeming contradiction. If the body is so important, why does Lord Krishna criticize those who focus on his physical form in the Bhagavad Gita? He says, Avajananti mamu makumonoi tanam ashritam parapavam ajananto mama bhutamahishvaram, essentially stating that ignorant fools fail to recognize his true divine nature because they're fixated on his physical manifestation.
It's a great question, and it gets to the heart of the matter. I think the key lies in understanding that the body is a vessel, a temporary dwelling for the divine.
Okay.
It's a means of expression, but it's not the ultimate reality.
So we need to honor and respect the body, but not mistake it for the essence of who we are.
Exactly. It's like using a car to get to a destination. The car is a valuable tool that helps us get where we need to go, but it's not the destination itself.
So while we can appreciate the beauty and power of the body, we shouldn't become attached to it or limit our understanding of the divine to its physical expression.
Precisely. And this understanding requires a delicate balance, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Recognizing the body's importance, yet not becoming fixated on it. It's a nuance that Sri Suresh emphasizes throughout his teachings.
And it seems like the guidance of a guru can be instrumental in navigating these complexities. But we're running out of time for this part of our deep dive.
Yes, let's take a pause here. Join us for part 3 as we continue to explore these intriguing concepts with the wisdom of Sri Suresh Kumar Makam.
Welcome back to our deep dive. You know, as we continue exploring this idea of the body as the place and abode of the God, it makes me think about all the different ways we interact with the world through our bodies. Sri Suresh gives these great examples of saints and spiritual leaders who traveled extensively, spreading their teachings and connecting with people.
He does.
Like Bhagavad-pada Adi Shankaracharya, who walked from the southern tip of India to the northern tip 6 times.
Wow.
Establishing all these important spiritual centers along the way.
It's amazing. Yeah. And he also talks about the tradition of Buchalana in the Srimad Madhvacharya order of faith, where pontiffs would travel on foot, emphasizing the spiritual significance of that connection with the earth.
It's almost as if the act of physical movement itself can be a form of spiritual practice.
It can be.
But I'm still wrestling with this idea of how to balance the importance of the body with the ultimate goal of, like, transcending the physical realm.
It is a delicate balance. I think Sri Suresh acknowledges that tension. He shares this really interesting anecdote about an Abhyasi who questioned the need to travel to see Shri Babuji Maharaj when he had a capable preceptor nearby.
Oh, I'm curious to hear how Shri Babuji Maharaj responded to that.
Well, Sri Suresh recounts that Shri Babuji Maharaj said, "Why do you come to me all the way such a long distance when Ganges is flowing next to you at Raichur? Go to him. What, and all I can do, Raghavendra Rao can do. Such a saint will come into this world once in 1,25,000 years."
So he's basically saying that Sri Raghavendra Rao was like an embodiment of the divine, a living representation of his teachings.
Exactly. And it highlights the transformative power of a true guru's presence. Even if that presence isn't physically manifested in the same location, it speaks to a deeper level of connection, a spiritual transmission that transcends physical limitations.
That's incredible. But it also makes me wonder, if we can connect with the guru on that level, Regardless of physical distance, what does that mean for our own individual practice?
Right.
Do we still need to engage in specific techniques or rituals?
It's a good question, and I think Sri Suresh addresses this pretty directly. He emphasizes that while the Guru's grace is essential, it doesn't negate the importance of personal effort and self-discipline. He even shares excerpts from Shri Babuji Maharaj's writings that stress the need for self-effort and the active role the disciple must play in their spiritual evolution.
So it's not about passively waiting for enlightenment to strike, but about actively cultivating the inner conditions that allow grace to flow through us.
Exactly. And that cultivation involves more than just intellectual understanding or mechanical adherence to techniques. Sri Suresh quotes Sri Babuji Maharaj from the chapter Love and Devotion, where he says, "The general idea that fills a PSS is the items of practice taught to them are all that is needed to take them up to the final state of evolution. Their thought does not run beyond this at all. We indicate Raj Yoga as our foundation, and it is so. In fact, their ideation does not reach down to its depths, and it just stops short with the observance of the rules. But it is certain that in Sahaj Marg, the fragrance of Panahuti dwells in, but still the factors that get left behind are love and devotion. Along with the active meditation, it is essential that these should also be therein. It has been necessary for me to stress the mingling of the facets together, since by doing this, a sadhak may be able to reach his goal very soon. It is your responsibility to engender these factors in yourselves. The means consists in endeavoring to maintain the remembrance of principle, that is, Ishwa, God. Even here, the objection can be put forward by some that, by this effort, the mind gets so tired that perhaps it can retain this only for half a day. Whatever act you do, do it in the thought, it is the divine's work. If you think that you are doing it, then it is your act. But if you think that the divine is doing it, then he will do it. The fact is that the divine is always doing it, but he is not doing it through us. Therefore, we have to make ourselves as mediums through whom the divine acts. In this condition, your mind will not get tired and your work will go on unceasingly."
Wow. It's a powerful message about the importance of love and devotion in spiritual practice.
Yeah.
It's not just about emptying the mind,
Right.
but about filling it with a deep love for the divine.
And it's about recognizing that the divine is already working through us,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to make ourselves receptive to that flow,
Right.
to become instruments for that higher purpose. It's a beautiful and challenging concept, and it seems to be at the heart of Sri Suresh's teachings.
It has been an incredible journey exploring these ideas with you.
Yeah.
What stands out most to you from his work?
For me, it's the way he brings together such a wide range of perspectives. Ancient wisdom, mythology, personal anecdotes, the teachings of his guru. To illuminate the path of spiritual realization, it's an invitation to look beyond our limited understanding,
Right.
to question our assumptions, and to embrace the mystery of the divine that resides within us all.
It's a reminder that the journey is just as important as the destination. The challenges, the doubts, the moments of clarity and confusion, they're all part of the process of awakening.
That's right. It is a process that requires ongoing effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to surrender to something greater than ourselves.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Sri Suresh Kumar Makam's teachings. We hope this exploration has sparked your own curiosity and inspired you to continue your own unique journey of self-discovery.